Welcome back to the 2014 League of Legends World Championship. We are on to the Starhorn Royal Club versus Taipei Assassins matchup, and this is incredibly important for Royal Club because in order to challenge for that #1 seed potential tiebreaker, if it happens, they have to win this game. I want to look at Kola. He's a player that in my mind was fantastic earlier in the group stage, but has left me wanting on Rise.
I think the game that we had, instead of him being a little bit lackluster on Rise, I felt like he just did not understand the matchup against Rumble, and Darius took advantage of it and completely smashed him. And I just want to see him on the Aurelia again, though. He was really comfortable on that, and his TPs were on par. Even though he was on Rise, the TPs on Rise weren't that good.
From what I've seen rather so far, English is sometimes very hard for me. From what I've seen so far, he seems to do really well 1v1, and actually it's fine just not being ganked for and just trying to survive that lane. However, TSM really exploited that and just they realized they could dive him and they took him down, and at that point Darius got stronger, and that I have to credit amazing for that, because that was a really good read.
Well, if we look at what Starhorn Royal Club was doing in the LPL, it was like small skirmishes. Do they fight as often 5v5? Not so much. And at that point, you're looking at Aurelia and Jax are really kind of Cola's two main go-to champions. And they played Jax after the nerfs. I'm still waiting for this Jax to come out, because it will, I think, at some point.
Well, we'll have to see how that pans out. Taipei Assassins on the other side of the rift. They had a strong showing against Royal Club the first time they played, pushed them really hard until were unable to close, but they kind of went downhill from there. They ran Blue Build Ezreal yesterday in their loss to SK Gaming, and I don't know, they kind of just fall into pieces as this groups has gone on.
Yeah, Taipei Assassins, I had high hopes coming in. I thought they were going to be at least third place in the groups, but I thought they could finish as high as first. I just hadn't seen enough of the team yet. And we saw their first game against Royal Club, and I was like, okay, good showing. You guys look really strong. But then it just kept falling apart for them here. Their only win was against SK with a sub, and that's a pretty harsh thing to think about. Wins as well. We had high hopes coming into the desk as well for him. And we've only seen him do really that well on Lee Sin. And so it just feels like there's all these hopes for TPA, and then so much of it doesn't quite come through.
Yeah, unfortunately, letting the side down, as it were. They do have the possibility to play Heartbreaker, though, because if they pick up a win against Starhorn Royal Club, and if TSM beat SK later, it means that first place seed is no longer contested. Do we still think Starhorn Royal Club will be able to bounce back from their earlier loss? Are they still the favorites, Monte Cristo, in this matchup?
Yeah, I think you got to take Starhorn Royal Club here. There shouldn't be much of a contest.
Well, I do think we're about ready to throw this over to the caster desk, and we'll be seeing whether or not Starhorn Royal Club can actually secure that win, see if they can push all the way back to TSM, for the tiebreaker later in the day, if TSM, of course, finish off that game. Let's talk a tiny bit longer about this matchup in particular. We have, of course, all highlighted BB significantly throughout the tournament. His partnership with Jay, do you think it's gotten better or worse, or do you think they're still struggling, Crepo?
Yeah, I think bot lane alongside with the top lane is going to be a problem.
The last game, Rengar, Lee Sin, if he's not doing that, they don't have much chance of winning games. And honestly, the last time TPA and Royal Club played, it was very close. I really think
Yes.
there's a lot of upset potential in this game.
TPA was actually the only team to lane swap against Royal Club, and it
point.
paid off because they managed to dodge around the tricky one-on-one top lane and, of course, the 2v2 lane, which will be heavily in favor of Uzi and Zero. So I actually want to see them lane swap again.
Definitely stops Insect from getting Uzi going that much more if he can't be down there to gank for the duo lane. Let's see what they come up with in picks and bans. We've gone over it a little bit. Let's see if it comes out the way we were thinking.
So with the Rengar ban here from TPA, if they don't ban Lee Sin, it could be the first pick coming in from Insect over here simply to avoid wins actually playing it. And it might be a bait from TPA to say, okay, you first pick the Lee Sin, we maybe get something like a Rise, we can maybe get a Zillion pick, we can also ban the Zillion so we don't pick it. Tristana could be an option for BB, has been one of his big champions in the GPL as well.
I feel like Royal Club is really looking to get Aurelia for Cola. Like, the fact that they're blue side, basically, Alistair and Maokai are almost always red side bans, but they just don't play it in the top lane, so their ban base is really messy here.
I mean, I've seen them play Maokai once. That was against EDG in the regionals final,
Rise.
where they actually first picked it. If they go Rise here, Lee Sin would fall into the hands of TPA.
And that's usually not good. That's usually not good in the slightest.
Quite a bit being left up here, and it is going to be locked in. Do they take away? What else do they get? Wins is actually going to be looking at Kha'Zix right now, the Trist. What an interesting champion.
What the?
So you don't take your best jungler so far in the tournament. Instead, you give it to Insect, who's actually been performing pretty well on Lee Sin. Not to his Rengar level, but still. And the Rise pickup for Cola in the top lane. I mean, we've seen him 2 games in a row now underperforming lane. Still, clearly, Royal Club, they trust in his ability to use this Rise to carry. And also, they don't want to play against it.
Apparently, Wynn's not feeling that it needs the Lee. Insect grabs it. The Nami as well. So Janna's left up for the Triss combination coming into this one. Really?
I'm at a loss from TPA not taking these in right here. They can get Janna easily.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of expect it.
It would be a great pick against Lee Sin
Then
as
it's probably
well.
not going to happen.
Exactly. What is
I mean, the Janna pick here for TPA, if they do lock it in, would be great against Lee Sin because you can interrupt him. You have both your Monsoon, you have your Hurricane. So if he tries to go in and actually, funny enough, insect you and kick you into his own team, you can interrupt it easily as Janna here.
So, one thing though, is the Nami is a good pick against the Janna. They were watching the games earlier
Of
today.
course.
Okay.
World Club
Good
versus
point.
TSM. I can see the Thresh here, but Janna makes more sense.
You have Janna Tristana. It's been probably the strongest 2v2 lane we have seen.
All right,
As
back
well
on track.
so far. Back on track. We got the Janna pick here against Lee Sin. So maybe TPA's plan was actually to bait out their Lee Sin from Insect and then have the Janna as the kind of the counter pick to it. At the same time, you have Tristana as well, who should be able to handle herself. And as long as she doesn't get kicked instantly by Insect, you have to jump. You have the ulti as well to shoot him away from you. And therefore, you have a very strong bottom lane now, which they are going to need against Uzi and Zero.
I can't see Uzi not picking up the Lucian here. We've heard Double Lift saying a little bit. That's going to go back and forth, maybe in the favor of Tristana on it, but we'll see what Uzi puts up on the table. Back and forth between his Vayne. He's played some Caitlyn. He's played quite a bit. We're probably going to lock in that Lucian.
It's like he's taking a flower, and every time he's pulling off a petal for the
Loves
Lucian to the Vayne pick. As soon as he
Loves
runs
me
out
not.
of petals, he's gonna have to pick one of them.
Quickly, this top lane. We actually saw the matchup yesterday, Freddy against Cola, where Cola was playing the Rise and Freddy was playing Dr. Mundo, and he managed to beat him in lane one-on-one. But it was, a big part was the fact that Cola used his teleport twice. To first going to the bottom lane and then to the mid lane, and he didn't actually get anything from the teleport, so he just lost a lot of farm. He fell pretty far behind against Freddy actually in the one-on-one. So let's see if Archie can do the same up in this top lane. Lucian Nami. I'm not gonna go against Double Lift, who was saying Tristana was a great pick against the Lucian in lane here, but Lucian Nami is a damn scary lane.
I mean, if you go against Double Lift, then you're going with Crepo. There's definitely
That's a
some
good point.
differences in these lanes. I'm right now going to take Uzi over BB.
I will as well.
Champions be damned, because he has been so dominating in lane. Lane swapping, I think, is a really high probability in this one. BB himself has said he's not that great in lane, and they love the
Right.
swap.
Yeah, you have a great setup for it. I mean, you have the Mundo as well. You can run together with Wins and not just teleport up when you have the one-on-one to get some farm. You don't need to have this Mundo against Ryze matchup where you just give Ryze a lot of free farm. So lane swapping from TPA would definitely be the best idea here. You can try to counter the fast push coming in from Royal Club, which we normally see in the lane swap, simply by taking your top laner and your support, send them down to bottom lane, because once they fast push into the tower, he can just sit there and pick up all the farm and they can't really dive you.
We see Morning picking up a little bit more throughout this tournament because some of the Syndra that we were kind of, wow, he's picking that up. Now the Fizz. No games in that in the regular season. He's really going to try to put his foot down here.
Bit of a risky pick, though.
Yeah.
We have seen a few Fizz backfire already, especially from Korn.
It
just
can
looking
happen.
earlier today.
Yeah, this one, it's again, they're bringing a couple pretty all-in champions with disengage on their own team. They're really going to have to try and take this kind of like at 20 minutes, but Mundo and Fizz both need longer than that. It's a weird set of champion scalings.
All right, remember, if you feel a team pulling ahead in this match, update your vote by tweeting at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag SHR win or TPA win.
Yeah, both Orianna and Lucian will have a lot more impact in the mid game than Tristana and Fizz at this point here,
Okay.
making it very scary for TPA. But then again, they are maybe looking at the last game they played against Royal Club, where they went extremely late game, and therefore looking just to go full late game champions.
We are into our third game of the day here in the group stages, the first set of them here in Taiwan. We'll see what the Royal Club can put up against TPA within this matchup. Definitely a game that counts for these teams. Royal Club not having too good of a game against Team Solo Mid earlier. Let's see if they can take hold here, get a little bit of momentum back in their favor.
And it's got to be a pretty difficult loss for Royal Club there.
Yeah.
Taking multiple Barons in the game and still losing. However, these games actually have gone pretty long in the past. Royal Club plays long games. TPA had actually played the longest games of anyone in the World Championships thus far, so it will probably go late game.
I mean, look back at GPL, they had some fast games because they were dominating some of the teams, but in the final against AHQ, we had like 50 minutes and 60-minute long games because both teams were basically just fighting each other left and right and nobody really actually managed to close it. And it's been the story for TPA. They had the lead against Royal Club game 1, didn't manage to close out the game. Royal Club came back. Now they've gone with the extremely late game focus comp here with Tristana. You have the Fizz and you have the Mundo on the side of TPA. But Royal Club's team fighting comp is pretty scary.
And TPA again going for the lane swap. They, like you said, they even did it when they were on the blue side, giving up that dragon control. They're ready to go to the late game with this.
Problem is, Royal Club is guessing
Ooh,
it.
yeah, they are.
And going top lane as well with Uzi and Zero.
Very nicely played. And without even the deep wards, they're trying to call this one out. It's actually going to be somewhat of an invade, too.
Yeah, no ward scouting for this lane swap, so it could very easily be forced by Royal Club. They even have an opportunity to invade here. However, there's wards on their own red, so I think we're just going to see buff trades.
So the only information TPA had at that point was simply saying, okay, you're not starting red buff, so you're either starting our red buff or you're starting your own blue buff here. But with the dual lands up in this top lane, let's see if Wins want to walk into the red buff of Royal Club. Their own wards just disappeared, so he doesn't actually know at the moment if Insect started his own blue buff or not.
Okay, he's going though. He surmised it, and they're also going to have confirmation any second.
Oh, this could be big. BB, what did you take? Level 1. He may have to flash out of this one, or he's just going to walk out. He's just going to walk out. Very interesting, though. BB brings exhaust as well.
It's
to his
a
Trist.
boatload of harass they just took in that lane, though. Will set them so far behind, especially since they don't even get the heal to stick around at lower amounts of health. Back to base right away.
Simply again because they had no wards in their own jungle, so they didn't know where Insect was. In the end, he comes in.
He's gonna get dove.
What?
Yeah, 2 people.
No, the exhaust for exhaust, but I don't know if it's going to work. First blood for Zero, and it looks like they get out, I wouldn't say unscathed, but real happy.
And this is basically just Royal Club guessing the lane swap, sending Uzi and Zero top lane, find TPA, and then they take the red buff at the same time, and Instinct just walks up behind them. Let's see what Wins can do in mid lane.
Well, jumps on, gets the slow.
Uh-oh. He'll be all right.
We're in the flash, though.
Very low on mana. He's going to be forced back on this one. Right, still has the summoners.
So I like the fact he's actually paying attention to the mid lane here, because we saw the matchup earlier. Bjergsen against Korn. Bjergsen on Orianna, as soon as he got all the health potions, like as soon as he got Korn to use all the health potions on Fizz, he was forced to go back. He lost a lot of CS and Bjergsen took full control of the lane. The fact that Wins comes in here now, forces Korn back to base, buys time now for Morning where he doesn't have to use any sustain to actually stay in lane, get some more farm, and get towards his level 6.
It's a critical juncture in the game, and Morning's going to need to get pretty strong, considering that Uzi may have a pretty free lane up in the top lane to get really, really far. Morning, it's his time to shine on this assassin.
And it doesn't look like they're going to stop with the damage. Double Doran's coming out here so Uzi can keep the pressure on and just keep that damage in. Uzi will walk right up to BB and say, how's it going? BB's forced to jump out of this. He's only going to have to farm at the turret.
You have the level advantage, you have the sustain from Nami, you have an extra Doran's Blade. I mean, just go straight in the face of BB here. Chunk him down. He only has his health potions to sustain himself. And TPA at this point, they might have to swap down to bottom lane with their dual lane because they can stand here 2v2.
I'm honestly very surprised they even came back to this lane.
Oh, bubble from the brush, and it could spell trouble. Another kill coming in for Uzi on the last shot. BB sticking around. Zero taking a shot. He is going to, walk it in. Double kill coming in for Uzi. That's going to be transferred back over. A nice little shutdown coming in for wins.
Oh, even so, that is a whole bunch of damage, but where did the second kill come from?
Uzi.
The tower, I'm pretty sure, actually killed Zero just before here, but they saw Wins come up to top lane, and they're like, okay, we can't escape, and let's just go for the dive, at least from Uzi's point of view.
Hey, that actually works out. As far as the kind of game, surprised me, actually. I missed the kill, but we're going to get one more look here. They get the double bubble, obviously. Nice shot right off the bat. And then here, yeah, I think Zero, he's tanking church shots.
Walks in first. Just flashes too late.
Cannon minion got him as well, but since BB had tagged him, BB ends up getting a kill off of that one, and that really keeps him in the lane.
Keeps him in the lane, and he goes for that gold generation off of his buy as well. Trying to stick up and keep that gold coming in. Trying to get a little bit more damage onto Uzi so we can get his harass on. You see, take Jay to half health with the Lightbringer and then 2 passives. Zero still trying to hit shots, and Insect now getting in the Hero wins.
That is pretty greedy from BB up in this top lane here. Going for his goal, put 10 item towards the static shift and not actually
He can't even trade in the first place.
Exactly, not even getting a Doran's Blade or anything, just very greedy play.
If he's going to be building an Avarice Blade, swap lanes. Go against Ryze in a 1v2 or a 2v1.
So again, they're having a pretty good time, or Archie down this bottom lane is having a pretty good time one-on-one, which would be the only reason for TPA to not lane swap. But your Tristana, who needs to get to late game, who is really weak in the mid game compared to a Lucian, is having big trouble.
Yeah, definitely going to have to question double lift on this on the desk when we go back to the analysts. Matchup isn't working for Trist this time. We'll see what BB had in mind with that exhaust play. Maybe it'll come in big later when he's bigger and trying to make plays. Shields on the turret is pretty much all Jay has to deliver right now as BB tries to soak up CS 38-23 in that lane. And like we said, Uzi is on his favorite. He's on Lucian. He's already 2-1-1 with the pickaxe in lane.
It's only going to get worse. Every time you get pushed down to tower, it's so hard to get any farm.
It seems to be the story of every Starhorn Royal Club game is, wow, Uzi and Zero are demolishing their opponents. But what are the other lanes doing? I think is one thing we need to focus on. Korn is actually not doing that well against Morning. Cola is just trading farm with Achi. Considering it's a Mundo versus Ryze matchup and Mundo has not been kept down at all pre-6, the other lanes are going quite well for TPA. This is fairly similar to the TSM game we saw at the very start of the day.
And it was kind of the question actually coming into the whole tournament. How good are the solo laners from Royal Club? Because Korn has definitely been stepping up his game and been getting better and better. But Cola down this bottom lane, I mean, when he's facing people like Going from OMG, he's always been in trouble and been actually losing the lane matchups. And this time around, it's just all focused around this bottom lane from Royal Club being probably the best in China in the laning phase. And then, of course, Insect making the big plays from the jungle. And then the solo laners just kind of had to survive lane, focus on farming, and just join in for the team fight.
Speaking of surviving.
Wins not level 6 yet. Tries to get in from the outside. Gets a little bit of a jump, but no upgrade on anything for him. And they don't come up with enough damage. Everything was used on that one by Morning.
And look here again, top lane. BB was forced back to base. He's now going to return to the top lane, which means Royal Club can just run straight down to Dragon with Uzi, with Zero, because BB is stuck in this top lane trying to catch up now and just sit and farm. I mean, he can't even freeze the lane because he has his E actually, so he's going to kill the minions. So he's going to push the wave. Royal Club can take Dragon and just send Korn Cola, sorry, up to top lane to pick up all the farm later on.
It's already been a pretty big advantage created just by that duo, and it's going to get greater if they can get this dragon. BB's just trying to farm as best he can. Finally getting a few CS. He was so destroyed, far more destroyed actually than Turtle had got.
Uzi himself backing to buy his own Avarice Blade to keep money coming in on that side, piecing that in. Doesn't want anything to go to the wayside. Looks like Royal Club is putting their foot down now. It's going to be objective time, or at least clearing the wards.
Again, it just goes straight for Dragon. You know their enemy AD carries in top lane. He can't join in, so you're going to be 5 members. Cola right now is going to teleport to the top lane, pick up all the lovely farm, and Royal Club at the moment just fully controlling this bottom lane.
It's just textbook right here from Royal Club. How to use one lane that is ridiculously strong and create advantages throughout the map.
Yeah, and it all started with the fact Insect could walk into the jungle level 1, take the red buff. TPA had no wards on it, and had no wards on the blue buff either, so they didn't know if he started actually on the blue buff or on the red buff. And then he just walked up behind, forced a flash from Jay. BB got pretty low. They had to go back to base, and from there on and out, they were just too far behind.
And you know that you mentioned the other lanes, they are
Morning's trying to make a play here.
Quite even, but this could teeter it. Those other lanes are quite even, barring that Dragon Gold that just came into super high, or I said it, there it is. Starhorn Royal Club. But they can still keep it going.
The bottom lane is pretty hot right now, so I don't blame you. Uzi is now again in the 2v2. BB just can't catch a break. He's not avoiding the Uzi 0 lane like he needs to. He needs another 10 minutes of farming before he can think about looking at this guy.
Yeah, getting Static Shift first item is not going to do a lot for him damage-wise. I mean, it means he can clear the waves pretty fast, but normally what we see is the people go back on the first back, and they get a pickaxe or BF sword, and then they build Static Shift, so you have some attack damage to back up all your attack speed. Now he's just going to have a lot of wave clear. Insect down his bottom lane, so even when his bottom lane is winning, he still wants to come in and help.
Uzi pulling in the fight perfectly for Insect there. And it's going to be the jump out, however, from BB. They realize that's coming in. They did have a ward in that brush on their side, but it's not going to keep them safe for long.
Turret after turret, though. Uzi is manhandling BB in this lane, and they just can't keep their building safe. The gold lead is just going to get greater and greater until they swap this off. They need to have Mundo following Uzi around because he at least can take a few hits.
Imp did come around to Uzi and let him know was the #1. That top player in the AD carry position, and right now he's showing why. Insect's going to come down and give a little bit more help here. Doesn't look like they could get much out of it, but the pressure is still keeping TPA on their heels.
Can they actually get a kill here? Morning does have ulti. I want to go for him, but he has flash. He has a pink ward he can jump to as well.
Let's see just how ahead Royal Club is, even out of position. TPA catches them. They can't really make a play on it. They need to get back to lane, get these pushed. Wins trying to clean up the mid lane right now. He's getting a paycheck out of this one instead of the lane tax, and Morning's going to say, I want those.
So I did like the idea from TPA here, because you can't just sit and just let this bottom lane happen, because you're going to lose your tower now. You're going to fall even further behind in gold. So what Morning tried to do was just as soon as he saw someone overextending, he moved instantly. If he can try and get a kill on this Fizz here, we know how strong Fizz is in the late game. But he needs to get the kills, because otherwise his team is going to take too long to get in there.
He's got to land those sharks as well.
Fizz is having a hard time today. Thank you, Fizz.
It really is.
And there's a tower going down in this bottom lane. Insect just been staying bottom lane just to secure the tower as much as possible. He can go mid lane now. Fizz has no safe wave clear. The only way he can clear the wave is by jumping in on his E. And then you're gonna die instantly after here. So they can just rotate Uzi and Zero to this mid lane and start pushing it in on the tower.
Win stays, even after Chum the Water misses. You can kind of see that Fizz play from Morning is not something he's comfortable with right now. This blue is going to be taken out by Royal Club. That one actually, I believe, went over to Uzi, so he can continue this fight on. Didn't get ardent plays on that, but he is able to push them out. He says, thank you very much.
A little baby leap over the wall by Wins. He's just had such a limited impact here on Kha'Zix. I'm still going back to Champ Select and wondering why he would not pick Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Especially when they're against Insect. It's just a total missed opportunity. Obviously, the Trist as well has been demolished, and this is turret number 3 that Uzi and Zero are going to be taking.
Great pressure from Royal Club across the board. Playful and Trickster in and out just for Morning to give a bit of harass, but not even deterring Royal Club. They stay for a bit more farm.
And because Royal Club is just taking all of these towers down, I mean, they're sitting on a lot of gold already. I mean, once they go back, Rod of Age is going to be completed for Rise, of course. Athene's going to be completed for Korn. He might just wait till he can actually afford a large rod as well. And of course, Uzi should be able to either complete his Infinity Edge if he wants to, unless he wants to get like maybe the Ghost Blade first and just keep being extremely aggressive.
Yeah, Uzi actually has a tendency of waiting far too long to go back to base when he has an advantage because he's tremendously greedy as an AD carry. However, I'm honestly a little upset with TPA. I think they could have done so much better this game in almost every facet. Even if they're going to end up going with wins, at least swap BB around a little bit better than Uzi. At least scout. And the thing that annoys me the most, it's not like they don't know how to do these things. I've watched their games. They've done them in the past. They're just not doing them now in a game where wouldn't it be spectacular for them to win this in front of the home crowd and play huge spoiler to Royal?
Something not really on the table for the moment. We're seeing Zero now join to the bottom lane. Backed up by BB and J. They're trying to take white and get everything they can on limited resources. 130 to 79 in that CS. Uzi able to pretty much push forward in this lane almost by himself. Zero's obviously there, but Uzi's ready to bait in an initiation to win that fight. Shots from BB coming in 8 and 7 to a 9 and 7 right now. Seeing the gold across the board. 62.02 to that 42-ish hundred of BB's.
And again, we talked about this static shift for BB here before.
Right.
He needed it for the wave clear, especially because you have the Fizz and you have the Mundo, which is not really going to provide a lot of wave clear, so now it's all about wins and BB providing it. But it just makes him so weak in straight-up fights and make it even easier for Uzi to keep pressuring him. And now we're really hitting the point where Tristana has this extremely weak mid-game, which you can punish. And Royal Club, they have no reason to slow down. Let's see what happens in mid lane.
There's a bit of a hit. Morning not really winning this fight though. The Ignite goes down on both sides. He pulls the ball to him. Perfect move by Korn to deliver it back out with the Q. Nicely done there. Teleport coming in. This is going to be Cola. Does he have the home guards? No, he's just coming out of where it can. Instantly getting that from Nami to continue the slow on his auto attack. Looks like they're going to continue onto this turret now as well. Beautiful play by Royal Club to press an advantage.
Just so much pressure across the board. Orion has already killed Fizz. They got enough harass down. There's that Lee Sin.
Getting the jump in, not able to apply the insect. Enough to get the kick back, but they're going to get the turret, and they are happy with that.
Yeah, but his name alone forced the jump immediately from BB.
So
like,
true.
I'm getting out of here right away because I don't want to die.
I think TPA kind of mind gamed themselves in this one. Last time in the picks and bans, last time they played, they banned. Oh dear, Wins could be going down. The bubble just misses there. Cola's going to pursue. I don't think Morning should help onto this one, and he is forced to flash out. Aggressive play.
Honestly, TPA they were greedy in the jam select. They're saying, okay, let's pick this like full late game focus. We have the Kha'Zix as well, which is going to outscale like a Lee Sin in team fights. So we're just gonna pick this late game and just hope we can survive, or believe we can survive the laning phase, the early game. But if you don't do anything to even try and save your Tristana, who needs to get to the late game, sacrifice your Mundo. I mean, send him against Uzi, let him get a few hits in the face. Then you're never gonna hit your late game point, unless Royal Club decides to dance around Baron now for the next 10-15 minutes, 20 minutes we could say as well. I don't think it's going to happen.
I feel like Morning felt he was going to be playing Orianna this game. Last time these two teams played, they banned Fizz against Korn, but left it up this time. Korn didn't have a very good Fizz game earlier, so he didn't want that back.
Old reliable Orianna.
Yep.
It always, all things lead to Orianna, it seems like, at Worlds. Ever since Season 2.
Yeah. Trying to put up numbers on the side of TPA right now. They are down in CS in multiple lanes. Machi really the only one, and Wins, who's been keeping himself in the jungle, is keeping that up. He's got to be putting pressure on the map though. We see Royal Club in every lane now, keeping the pressure on.
They're basically just waiting now for the second item being completed on every single carry, and that's why they've just been kind of slowing down just for the last few minutes, because they want to have the death cap completed on Korn, you want to have your static shift completed on Uzi. So we haven't seen them go like full aggressive for the last few minutes. They can still do it if they want to.
They've also taken so much so fast. I mean, 4 turrets, 18 minutes in. There's no dragon currently on the board. And honestly, TPA has just been conceding rather than contesting. So there's not much for Royal to take at the moment.
We do see every single member from TPA buying some wards because they know we have to ward up our jungle. if we want to have any chance of catching anyone from Royal Club out of position, we have to have full wards in the jungle. Maybe Morning can pick up a kill. They also need to be in the lane ready to defend. And we talk about the lack of wave clear unless it's BB or Wins being there. Even Wins alone won't do enough. BB was running from bottom lane. Easy switch from Royal Club into mid lane to take it.
Bully, bully, bully. That is what Royal Club is up to right now. Insect, very nicely done. Didn't safeguard with Chum the Waters on, but he actually may be able to keep himself alive. Good focus, though, from Achi and Morning, but it's only focused for so long because of the power. Right now, coming out of Royal Club, drops both Achi and Morning right quick.
2-for-1 is not all that bad for TPA, but it does expose this mid turret a little bit. Rise wasn't even there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, he wasn't even there. He doesn't have teleport. He's gonna run down, join in here. Royal wants to just try and push in. Only have 1 minion left, which won't survive.
Well, they still got Rise or Uzi to take a few hits. They really want this turret. Johnny Shield, though, is going to slow him down. Poor Royal.
There is teleport for Archie here, so TPA might want to try and chase this one. They have the Kha'Zix for the slow. They are trying. But there's no ward actually behind. There was a ward here. Royal Club just passed it, and
There is definitely
Archie
warding,
wasn't
but
ready.
at the
in time.
moment, with no Mundo ultimate, I feel like he would have just been teleporting in
It's more just
to his demise.
It's more the fact you kind of have to try. I mean, you're 10,000 gold behind at 20 minutes. If you can get the chase, maybe a kill, go for it.
So BB wasn't here either. It was just a bit of a mess in a fight here. Morning landed enough damage, but honestly, Uzi is just in the thick of things, not even really taking damage.
It was what we just talked about, how TPA ward up your own jungle, have Morning sit there and hope he can take out a target. But the guy only has a Lich Bane. You're not exactly gonna burst down anyone.
Maybe a turret.
Maybe a turret.
You get to those turrets. Infinity Edge for Uzi.
Trying to
Static Shiv
this
almost
might backfire
built up.
for Morning.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, Uzi gives him a little laugh too. He's playing with a lot of confidence. Actually, speaking of wards, as they try and chase Morning down a little bit, TPA is an example of a team who actually wards a lot, but it's an example of how wards aren't the only thing needed to win games, right? Because as far as the group goes, they have the longest games, which is one of the reasons they've actually placed more wards than any other team. As far as wards per minute coming into the day, they're actually second amongst teams at Worlds. But the way they ward, they have some defensive wards, they overward defensive spots, they don't necessarily move their wards properly, and they're not really using their wards to take advantages, which is one of the big reasons. You can ward up, but if you're just going to let the other team walk through your wards and do whatever you want to them, they're worthless.
Exactly, and the last point is exactly why they didn't manage to beat Royal Club first time around, because they had a lot of wards down, just never managed to place it properly, never got any advantage from the wards, and ended up going full late game. And Royal Club, they're not going to do the same here. Already put up a lot of aggressive wards here, pushing up.
And it's that
Uzi's
second
not
item.
there.
It's the second main item you talked about.
It
Death
is.
Cap on a Corn, Static Shiv on a Uzi. Easy push.
a lot of front-end damage coming out of
They have
Royal
to fight
Club
now.
now.
TPA needs to just fight because Uzi's not there yet.
They're in a good spot. They have
BB's
Cola
not
walking
either.
down.
BB was
Oh.
back in base. Achi is back in base.
It would have been great. Cola was walking down. Not many wards right around them to be used on that teleport, but he's now going to be here. Another jump bubble caught by Zero. They were trying to bait in for Morning, who was hiding in the brush, but Cola takes practically no damage from Chum the Waters, and now they are running amok inside of TPA's base. This one could be over sooner than we thought.
I wonder if TPA is going to fight them ever at this point. BB gets shockwaved in. They don't have the minions to push in, and TPA doesn't have the strength to push in against Royal either.
They're gonna chase though.
A little too early to be in the base for the power they have. It is a lot of power, but is it enough to finish off with waves pouring at them and the whole chaos that's going to be coming from the entire team of TPA? Right now, it does force them to back off. They'll be happy to take down Dragon. Good breadcrumb wards to be seeing TPA on the entry.
They might actually look to fight here. They're moving down every single member. BB still farming the lane, however, so he's not there just yet. No ulti for Korn. Let's see if TPA can do anything at all.
Oh, they want Uzi to go hard.
Low on mana.
Even Uzi safe. TPA trying to make a move here. This might be what they need. Maybe getting out Zero. He does not have the tidal wave right now to be used, but TPA now second guessing even their own moves here.
There is also a bot lane tower because TPA doesn't have a single tower yet. Which could just fall back to the tower. Now they're just pushing up here. Ultis are ready very, very soon. Feeling confident once again to push up and go straight for this tower.
23 minutes in, a supercharged up Rise as well. Radovaj is probably still ticking or even full with the Saracen Brace completed here.
And after we've seen a few games where the team in the lead early on just go Baron and dance around for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes,
It's refreshing to see
I'm
this.
glad to see Royal Club saying, we don't need the Baron at all. Let's just keep pushing up. We get so much damage on the tower every single time. And if you want to fight us, then you die.
What a
Wins
ridiculous amount of damage.
always starting the fight without full HP.
This is gonna be the
Like
fight.
caught
It's
left
gotta
and
be.
right. Slowly going down to the inhibitor turret. The Howling Gale is the only thing they're really trying to put out as defense. Is Achi standing his ground, giving him the business. A pretty nice jump to waters, but again, onto Kola, one of the tankiest people that they have. Morning just getting kicked around, and he's forced to defensively leave the fight. Insect misses on the Sonic Wave, and they are still holding true in front of TPA's base.
Maybe it's like getting Corn's real low.
First Zero goes down. That's Corn going down in the beginning there. Zero actually still alive, but he's yet for this, or long for this world. There into the fight is going to be Insect. He does not have the kick up right now. He used that just onto Morning. And very low. Royal Club enters the base. Jay's got some hits coming towards him, but Insect backs off because they're getting the space they want inside of TPA's base.
They are just so far ahead. They have so much pressure. They have so many minions. There's actually double super minion wave that would be pushing in here.
Uzi doesn't even have
It
lifesteal.
would be rather
What's
greedy to
going
finish
on?
up. Uzi never has lifesteal.
Oh, that's
Never.
true. Fights like he does, but doesn't.
Obviously, Royal Club's in total control of this game. There's a few tendencies we picked up amongst Uzi and Zero. First off, Uzi pretty much never builds lifesteal until last item, unless he's playing Vayne. Of course, he'll build Blade of the Rune King. And Zero finishes his support item, full complete, almost every single game.
Here we go.
very early on. Corn actually being caught out here. Just flashing over, and TPA does manage to pick up a kill.
Yeah,
Problem
nice.
is, they're just still so far behind.
Yeah, this was the power of Rise and Lucian here in close quarters. Obviously, BB gets blown up as soon as he gets close, and the Hinsec tries he may. Was not able to finish off kills. He's going damage.
Oh! I felt that. It hurt a little bit.
Sometimes it hurts to watch something.
It does.
Just go, ow.
There was a sting there. 26 minutes on the clock. 26 seconds till BB gets back onto the rift.
So one thing Uzi gains by not building lifesteal is more all-in potential and just more straight-up damage. As long as he's opting into the right fights, he doesn't care as much about sustaining in between them. Always just trying to maximize his damage.
One-on-one, Morning Insect.
Oh,
Whoa!
TP coming in from Cola as well. Morning not looking too healthy right now. Jay takes that one. Insect waiting for enough energy to take the resonating strike, and he does. He should be able to drop that one quick. Cola's actually going to be able to come up. Kill secured as they move on to the top and final inhibitor turret.
Already have the super minions. Running into the base of TPA should just be a matter of time at this
They're indefensible right here. Insect is just having fun. Uzi's going wherever he wants. Even if they're just clearing the minions, it's going to be trouble. This is inhibitor number 3 and probably the game.
Uzi making sure nobody can come off the fountain right now. He is just a wall in this game as Lucian. And it looks like they're going to be able to grab the inhibitor turret, making sure they're not getting too antsy here. Not really looking at too much damage, but we've seen the mistakes made. They lose a few and they can't fully push, so they're playing it safe.
And honestly, we just saw in the game prior a very one-sided game with AHQ. This is how you close a one-sided game. Royal Club has forced TPA into either giving up all their objectives or taking fights that would just make the game end faster. And in doing so, they're creating a very quick and decisive win. 9 turrets, tons of buildings, huge gold lead. Uzi just went back to base with 4,000 gold as we saw. They're playing quite well.
And it all started just like from level 1. Again, the red buff for Insect, walk up top lane, 2v2, Royal Club looking so strong. They win it, Insect comes in with the first gank. And every single move TPA made from there on and out was just the wrong one. Like, it made it so easy for Royal Club to just keep pressuring the advantage.
Level 1 in a game really twisted by a odd champion select coming in for TPA. See what they can continue to do with this composition. Royal Club looking to put the final touches on a possibly sub 30-minute game.
Get Baron, go mid for the 3rd inhibitor, use the super minions, and win the game.
Easily picked up on that. 3 of 3 dragons, 1 of 1 barons. The next dragon's just going to be hanging out by himself because I don't think it's going to be necessary. TPA sets up for one final fight as Royal Club, the train, starts coming down the tracks once again.
We just need to see red part and blue part and TPA and just try and take the fight here.
That's the Mundo going down first in the blink of an eye. Not what should be happening. It's going to be the Nexus turrets. It will be sub 30 minutes. Uzi able to take the full combo coming in from Morning, and he stays alive. Onto the Nexus turrets. Onto the Nexus. 13-5. Royal Club will take down Taipei Assassins.
Royal Club doing a good job to come back from their defeat earlier to TSM. This game left no doubt about who was the better team. Royal Club 5-1 in the group.
Just wow. That is what that game is. And you're right, 5-1. Now their record as they have played out their matches here in the group stages.
So it's basically all about TSM now. If they do manage to beat SK Gaming, we're going to have the tiebreaker for first place. And as the analyst desk was talking about, either you get first place and you dodge around Samsung White, or you end it at the quarterfinals. But you should never say never. There is still room. There's still room.
You have to play the games for a reason.
Exactly. I mean, while Samsung White would be the favorites, you can still beat them. I mean, they're not unbeatable.
We'll get to see what EDG can do next game. They play AHQ. We'll see what kind of power Samsung White's going to be going up against. I'm going to say EDG is going to need to get that game powerful because they will need all the momentum in the world to shut down White.
They're basically going to have to show as well that they don't have to fall behind or have a slow early game in every single game, because against a team like Samsung White, as we saw, game 1 of the entire tournament, Samsung White got a big lead early on against EDG.
Yeah.
That can happen again unless they step up the laning phase, but they're always this very, very slow team, so it's very hard for them to suddenly fix it.
You're absolutely right there. I mean, this one, while there were definite misplays and errors by TPA, as far as the play from Royal Club, it was near flawless, right? Like, there was the overdive, you could say, by Uzi, but he still picked up a double kill and used that advantage to just press BB harder and harder and harder. And the way they fast push turrets, it's definitely something they do better than any team we've seen here, is going to be something that other teams have to prepare for.
Yeah, it's cool to see how they use Insec as a guy who just, instead of ganking, he just runs straight into the lane, push it up because you already have the pressure, take down the tower, go to the next tower, do the same. If he lands the Q onto a member under the tower, he's going to go instantly and kick you back.
And TPA tried to get out of that duo lane. They tried to go top, they tried to swap, and it was Uzi that found them standing at their turret. He literally walked up to that top turret and said, ping, ping, guess what? We got our duo lane.
So they tried level 1, and then once they had the 2v2 and were losing the lane, they did absolutely nothing to try and actually get out of it. There was no ganks from wins. They were too far behind. Didn't try and swap down to bottom lane either.
Well, another win going over to Royal Club. Right now we're going to throw it over to Quickshot and the guys at the desk to share their thoughts on the match.
Thank you very much, guys. Very clinical finish, I think. Starhorn Royal Club, I think, bouncing back from their Game 1 defeat relatively well. Insec once again showing up. Strong presence, especially in that duo lane. And talking about the duo lane, you know, BB just really struggling with some very bad decisions early on.
I think the biggest thing that snowballed that lane has to be obviously the level 2 Lee Sin gank from Insec. Now, what happened was a lane swap scenario that with the bot lanes ended up top, but the junglers ended up splitting sides of the map. And TPA failed to realize that Insec would be all over that top side and didn't give any respect for the possibility of a level 2 gank. Lee Sin comes out, gets them both extremely low, and that from then on, there's no coming back from that. And just not respecting that happening cost them the game.
Yeah, just how they exploited it was actually showing how a Lucian matchup is actually normally going to beat Tristana, just dashing in and going for these short and aggressive trades. But it was facilitated by the fact that it was a level 2 gank. I had so many people reach out to me saying like, hey, look at, Lucian's finally winning a matchup. But no, it was Lucian and Insec actually winning that matchup.
Yeah, he blew the flashes too.
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. And I'm kind of just repeating what the caster is saying, but I still can't believe that given the option, Win says, no, guys, I'm going to play Kha'Zix after all, even though he's repeatedly not had good performances on this champion. And it just seems like TPA aren't keying into how this tournament is playing out for them.
Yeah, I agree. So Starhorn Royal Club, they at least hold on to that first place seed for now, assuming TSM beat SK in this next game, which sets us up for a rematch at the end of the day. If TSM drops the ball and loses to SK, it's a 1-2. Taipei Assassins, their run has ended, and it's a disappointing group stage for the team, where we'd expected some, more results from them. I just want to quickly go back to the game because I know, Crepper, you felt quite strongly about Zero from Starhorn Royal Club and his Frostfang at 10 minutes in particular.
Okay, first let's point out, actually Zero played really well. He had some amazing bubbles this game. Tidal A's were good. But I'm looking at what Royal needs to improve to get better to actually have a shot and make going farther than the quarterfinals. And they need to exploit it or take more advantage out of their lead. He goes to base and he comes back with an upgraded Frostfang instead of buying Moby Boots. He could have had the option of going Moby Boots and Sightstone coming out of base against a support that didn't even have Sightstone yet. On top of that, the enemy jungler wasn't running Sightstone either. He could have solely controlled the vision control of that game on his own if he bought Moby Boots Sightstone. Instead, he went for the Frostfang. At the same time, he upgraded Frostfang to Frost Queens, skipping the Mikhails, but then built the Mikhails anyways. And if you value Mikhails, why don't you just build it sooner? I just don't understand it.
Not only that, but there was pretty much no risk in that situation too, because when he went back, this was when
About 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 10 minutes. BB at that point had just the components for a Shiv. He had the blade and the Avarice Blade and a Zeal. Meanwhile, Uzi was fed, very, very fed, and so Uzi could have kept the lane pressed up in bottom, giving the freedom for Zero to walk into the jungle. And we're not even talking about the jungler items either. Kha'Zix is not going to be a Sightstone jungler. Lee Sin will be a Sightstone jungler. You can choke out with Moby Boots at that point in time, given the conditions of the game, with that vision. I totally agree with you.
And then if you look at what Frostfang gives you, 5 more damage on every trade.
I mean,
come on, guys.
I could see the argument for it. They probably just think, well, let's team fight better here. I'll help you out, Uzi. I got a slow for you, buddy.
Just stop.
No, I mean, and honestly, since the Frostfang changes where it gave 2 less GP10, it's just not worth it on champions who cannot reliably get stacks in. I've been checking the gold earned by this item repeatedly throughout the tournament, and it's never a strong number. It's never even paying for the upgrade cost. Sure, you can say, well, I want the 5 ability power it gives, whatever, but it's literally a waste of gold to do this when it could be buying useful items.
Let's step back really quickly. Type A Assassins, they are now out of the group stages. As we said, Starhorn Royal Club and TSM fighting for seeding. Royal Club looked much better in this matchup. Obviously, it is a disparity and mismatch. TPA not playing as well as TSM did. What does Royal Club take away from a loss in the earlier day, fairly strong win now, at the potential of a tiebreaker later? Mindset, strategy, have they bounced back? Is it just it was a weaker opponent so they looked better?
Snowballing your bot lane wins you the game.
Yeah. I think the fact that we're seeing, again, a Lee Sin jungle make good moves early on. Crumbs, at the beginning of the day, you talked about the fact that this is our sort of Group Stage 1 MVP jungler. I agree. I still don't like Kha'Zix very much. And personally, when I watch these games, he doesn't seem to do very much, whereas Lee Sin and all the other early game junglers seem to set the games up to let the game just be won.
I think another important thing that Royal can take away from these games is the mid lane pick, because against TSM they picked Fizz and that did not go well. This time around we saw them take the Orianna against Fizz, so they took the mirror match, and if they go for a more control-oriented mid lane against TSM, if the rematch is to happen, I think they'll look better.
Let's go final thoughts from Monty.
Yeah, I'm still concerned about Starhorn because we saw another Nidalee ban coming into that game, and TPA is not a Nidalee team. So I have some questions about whether or not this team does its homework. And if we roll back to the TSM games as well, the Nidalee ban and then the Elise ban, not probably necessary, but I don't think we're going to see Dyrus on Rumble for the rest of this tournament. I think that is an incredibly bad move. But if Starhorn can give their draft a little more love, I think they should be in good shape.
We'll find out. SK take on TSM later in the day, and we'll see if that Rumble makes it through. Right, AHQ and Edward Gaming are booting up for our 4th game of the day, and we'll be bringing you that action after this quick break. Do not go anywhere.
Focus though from Hachi and Morning, but it's only focused for so long because of the power. Hello. First Zero goes down. That's Korn going down in the beginning there. Zero actually still alive, but he's yet for this for long for this world.
Saying go 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 go. Okay.
That's the Mundo going down first in the blink of an eye. Not what should be happening. It's going to be the Nexus turrets. It will be sub 30 minutes.